Hey everybody, I'm Frank Kearney. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all my clients and former clients who have tuned in to watch this. I'm an attorney in Washington, D.C., and all we do is represent people with serious injuries, catastrophic injuries, whether they get hurt at work, in a construction site, out on the roads, or in a hospital due to medical malpractice, hospital malpractice, or due to a doctor's mistakes. And today I want to talk to you about workers' compensation and what you should do after a serious injury. I'm going to answer basically the 5 questions that we get asked all the time when someone has a serious injury at work. So again, I want to thank you, 1, for tuning in. 2, let you know, please ask questions. That's what we're here for. If you have a question or something's on your mind, go ahead and type it in. If you can't type it in or what have you, call the office. Call just 202-393-3320. Brooke will get me that question and we'll get it answered for you. I really appreciate it. Now, before we get started, let me tell you a story. About 10 years ago, I was in my office and we had a practice just like we do now, represent people with serious injuries. One of my construction worker clients, he was a steam fitter, referred me another tradesman, another union worker in a different union who'd gotten hurt at work. I'll call him Mike, and you'll see that's not his real name, but you'll see in a minute why I'm not going to use his real name. Mike came into my office. He was 38 years old. He had a herniated disc in his back, pretty serious injury. He had a heavy-duty job. He lived in Waldorf, Maryland, in southern Maryland, and he did a lot of work in D.C., but his company was in Maryland. Mike thought was doing everything right. He was following the rules, living his life the right way. He had never sued anyone. He had never gotten hurt on the job. Nothing like this had ever happened to him. He had a wife and he had 3 kids. And here's what he said when he came into me. He said, look, I'm not getting any better. And my wife and I, my family, we're really struggling on workers' comp. And I don't really know what to do. I went to the doctor that the insurance company told me to go to. He's not really helping me. And there's a nurse who comes to all my appointments, and she's not really helping me either. She's just talking to the doctor without me there, and the insurance company without me there. I filled out all the forms that the insurance person sent me. So I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? So I looked at everything that Mike had brought. He had brought in all of his paperwork. And I think he had talked to a lawyer out in Maryland who'd given him some advice as well. All right. And after I kind of went through everything, my heart just sank, quite honestly. Because I had to tell Mike, and he had to tell his wife and his family that he'd really screwed up his case. He had no idea. But here's what happened. The insurance company, the adjuster, had sent him the claim forms to file his case in Maryland. He didn't think anything of that. I mean, doesn't every state have workers' comp benefits? Sure it does. He lived in Maryland. His company was located or headquartered in Maryland. He didn't think that was any big deal at all. You know, when they sent him to a specific physician, he thought that was just the way it worked. That was the panel. That was how healthcare and the workers' comp system works. And having a nurse come to your appointments, well, he didn't know about that either. All right. But here's the killer mistake that I saw Mike make 10 years ago, and I've seen, unfortunately, too many times since then as well. All right. Mike filed his claim in Maryland when he should have filed it in D.C. Now, what's the difference? At that time, the benefits rate, the money benefits that you get every week when you can't work, that was $318 higher in D.C. That's every single week. Mike was losing out on $318. Right now, it's about $416 a week difference. What that means is if you file in the wrong place, you could be losing over $20,000, $21,000 in benefits, in income for you and your family every single year. Now, that's a lot of mortgage payment, that's sending kids to college, that's car notes and truck notes. That's a lot of money. He also didn't realize he could choose his own physician. He didn't have to go to some insurance doctor who really wasn't helping him and was really working for the insurance company. And he didn't know that he could tell his nurse case manager to beat it, to get out of his life, really, not to go to his appointments and not to talk to him. So I went home that night and I was talking this over with my wife about, my day and Mike and how he was struggling to make ends meet and wasn't getting any better. And she said, "Look, you got to get the word out. You got to tell people, because this isn't the first time I've heard this from you. You really need to let people know what's going on and how they can protect themselves." So, like most things with my wife, she was totally, completely, 100% right. And the next morning I woke up and I started to outline a book. That book is now in its third edition. It's the Ultimate Guide to Workers' Comp Benefits. And it's about 125, 131 pages worth of information written just for people who get hurt at work. It's not available for insurance companies, employees, or their law firms or adjusters, or anything like that, just for injured workers. That's what we did. That's what I did to, address this problem that I was seeing over and over again. So if there's one thing I want to caution you about, it's this. Look, it's this whole thing. When you get hurt at work, all your legal rights, the whole workers' comp system, okay? That's designed to help insurance companies. Don't let them take advantage of you and your family. Don't end up like this young man, okay, like Mike, because it can be a real serious burden where it doesn't have to be. Okay, now let's get to the 5 questions that we are asked all the time, over and over. They're probably on your mind, like there are a lot of people who get hurt at work or their friends, coworkers, and family. All right, the first is, where do I file my case? Okay, well, that's something you really got to look at, think about, analyze, and consider. Okay, because like I said, the benefits are much different in DC versus Virginia and Maryland. If you're a high income earner, if you are a high hourly worker with lots of overtime and bonuses, or you have a high salary, okay, the benefits are generally 2/3 of your average weekly income. And that's in all 3 jurisdictions, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And all 3 have caps on the total amount, on the high end of the benefits. The difference is the cap in DC is much higher. It's over $400 higher. So you're getting an extra $400 per week if you qualify for that. The next critical thing is you get to choose your doctor in Maryland and DC. In Virginia, there's a panel of physicians that you get, and you've got to pick from one of those, okay? So there's lots of little differences that can make a big difference for you and your family, depending on where your case is filed. Now, what's critical to this is, if you file your case in Maryland or Virginia or anywhere else, and you get workers' comp benefits under their system, under one of those states or any state, you can't come back into DC. DC won't take jurisdiction. So once you've made that choice, you're stuck with it. Now, look, a lot of times people come to me and their case should be in Maryland. They were hurt in Maryland. They work in Maryland all the time. And that's fine. That's totally fine, okay? But these insurance companies are trained in this area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, to look for cases that could be in DC and to push someone into either Maryland or Virginia. They do it all the time, and it's just a critical thing that you've got to look for. So I'd say don't sign any forms that the insurance company sends you without at least reading my book, or at least talking to a lawyer who knows all 3 jurisdictions, okay, who can really give you the analysis and the advice that you and your family need. That's probably the biggest, the number one is, where do I file? And a lot of times people don't know that. They don't know that's their number one question until it's too late. So really be careful there. Another question we get all the time, over and over, is what if my company doesn't have light duty? And you see this a lot in the trades. I mean, steam fitters, plumbers, carpenters, commercial construction, pipe fitters, any type of, usually people in the trades, electricians. There is no light duty when you're on a construction site. There's also usually no light duty when you're a nurse or a doctor. That's a very physical, heavy duty job. Some companies have light duty, some don't. When does light duty come up? Well, that happens when you're recovering from your injury and you can't do your regular job, but maybe you can do some things. Maybe you have restrictions, okay? Like your job requires you to lift 50 pounds because you're a nurse and you got to turn patients, every 2 hours so they don't get bed sores. But your doctor says, no, you're with your back injury. I only want you lifting 10 pounds, no more than 10 pounds. Okay, so if the hospital you work for, if they have a job within those restrictions, great. You can take that as long as it's within your restrictions. And if they don't, they have to continue to pay your workers' comp benefits. Let's say you do get a light duty job, but it doesn't pay as much. You're not making overtime, for example, okay? Well, then you should get benefits based on 2/3 of the difference between what you were making at the time you got hurt and the new wages in the light duty job, okay? The thing to remember with that is to keep up with your doctor. Make sure those restrictions are current. Make sure that the job is truly light duty, that they're not making you do, a whole lot of other things outside your restrictions. They could risk further injury, further damage. So you got to be careful about that. And then track your pay stubs. A lot of times, insurance companies won't even tell you that you're eligible for some additional benefits. They're called temporary partial disability benefits. And those can go on for 5 years in DC. And all 3 jurisdictions have a form of that as well. Maryland and Virginia, if your case is in anywhere in the DMV, you can get temporary partial disability benefits if you're on light duty. The other thing that sometimes happens is vocational rehabilitation will come into play. If it looks like your restrictions are going to prevent you from going back to work ever or for a long, long time, sometimes the insurance companies will hire a vocational counselor to look for light duty jobs for you, to look for work for you. Again, that is typically, not always, but almost always, things that the insurance company wants to do just to cut the amount that they have to pay you. And it's not necessarily jobs that you're going to be interested in. But that's a whole nother sort of seminar or subject. But it sort of falls under light duty. If you're getting a call from an adjuster or a nurse case manager or a vocational rehabilitation counselor, then that's probably because you have light duty restrictions. You can do some type of work, but not your regular job. Okay, so that would apply to you. How does medical treatment work in the workers' comp system? This is another question that comes up quite a bit. Okay, so basically, in DC you can choose your own physician. In Maryland you can choose your own physician. In Virginia you get a choice of 3. It's called a panel, and you choose one of those. Once that physician becomes your treating physician, then if they refer you to another specialist, that's also considered a treating physician. The workers' comp insurance company will pay for your medical treatment. There are no co-pays that you have to worry about. It's not like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Aetna or some type of private health insurance. Okay, it's not like Medicaid or Medicare or any type of insurance. There's really no fee at all to you. Now, not all doctors realize that, not all doctors' offices. Occasionally, they will send you a bill for the balance. We call it balance billing. Okay, that means if you go to the doctor and the charge was $100, well, the workers' comp insurance company, they only have to pay under what's called the fee schedule. So they pay a part of that, and the doctor accepts it. So let's say workers' comp pays $60. the doctor then can't charge you for the extra 40. Occasionally, you may get a bill, especially from an emergency room or someplace that you've gone initially for treatment, saying you owe us all this money. My office has a form for that, a form letter, calls. We take care of that quickly. It's against the law for the physicians or the providers to bill you for the balance. So it's usually a pretty easy thing to take care of if you know about it. But you got to get on it quickly because you don't want it to affect your credit either. Okay, so it's a matter of educating the healthcare provider on the law, on the system when you get hurt at work. Treatment also has to be authorized by the workers' comp insurance company, not routine visits. That's really a misconception. Okay, so if you're just seeing a doctor and a follow-up after surgery, that's not something that has to be authorized. If your doctor recommends surgery or therapy or epidural steroid injections, some kind of procedure, that usually does have to be authorized by the workers' comp insurance company. But routine visits don't have to be. Your doctor doesn't have to call, every time you want to set up a follow-up visit, like a monthly visit or a quarterly visit, if that's what he or she has told you to do. Okay. That's a little bit different, I would say, in this system. The one key thing is to really keep up with your doctor, keep up with the medical treatment that you're getting, keep up with the doctor's notes. Okay, if he gives you a slip saying you can't work or you can work, but these are your restrictions. Don't lift over 10 pounds because you've had a rotator cuff surgery. Don't, work overhead, that kind of thing. Then you've got to get all that to the insurance company. And again, that could affect whether you're on light duty and the type of benefits that you're getting as well. Now, one of the big questions we get, and again, sometimes, unfortunately, it's too late, is when and why can the insurance company stop my benefits? And it's usually something like, look, I thought everything was going fine, and all of a sudden they sent me a notice saying they're not going to pay my benefits anymore. Okay. Well, unfortunately, in all three places, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, it's pretty easy for them to stop your benefits, and they don't have to do a whole lot to do that. They can do it for basically any reason. A lot of times they will send you to one of their doctors, an insurance medical exam. They call it an independent medical exam, but don't fall for that. There's nothing independent about it, okay? They'll go to a doctor that they send 20 people a week to that guy, and he's making a fortune from that insurance company. So what do you think he's going to say? All right? That's one of the things. There are legitimate reasons. If you return to work, if your injury resolves and you're back to work, then obviously they're going to stop your benefits because you'll be getting your salary, okay? But they can do it for virtually any reason. And, that's a killer because in all three jurisdictions, there's a delay to get a hearing. It can be many months before you even get to court to get your benefits going again. And then in some places, many months after that to even get the decision. So you definitely want to jump on that right away. Now, there's some easy ways sometimes. Well, there's some ways that they stop your benefits that are easy to fix, okay? Well, let's say you've been going to the doctor, but you haven't given the insurance company your out of work note or your disability slip that says no work until my next appointment, all right? If the insurance company doesn't have that, they're not going to continue to pay your benefits. They need that as evidence or proof that you can't work. That's a pretty easy fix usually, getting your doctor's records or doctor's notes, getting your doctor, if he or she forgets to give you a note, having their office do that, getting it over to the insurance company so that your benefits can continue, so that those can keep going. That's a relatively easy fix. Now, what do they have to do when they file the benefits? Really, when they stop your benefits, they've got to file a notice or a form, okay? Now, in my office, our system that we have is we immediately request a hearing. And we do that for a couple reasons. One is, I'm very aggressive, one. But the bigger reason, or another reason, is because of the delay to get to a hearing. So I want that case in the system and moving forward from the minute I hear that one of my people's benefits are being stopped. And you got to do that right away. Take that action again, because of the delay in even getting to a hearing. You don't want to contribute to that. Okay. Now, let's say you go to a hearing and you win your case. Then the insurance company can't just stop your benefits in DC. They've got to go through the whole process that you just went through in order to stop your benefits. And I've had this happen, many times. And my attitude is, and I'm a son of a bitch about this, excuse my French or language, whatever, but let me tell you something. If an insurance company is going to starve out one of my people, well, when the shoe's on the other foot, you better believe that we're not giving them anything at all to help them. And we're going to fight them for everything. Again, because they did it, they did it to us. Now, what's another reason to file for the formal hearing right away? Sometimes you can get them to admit their mistake before you even need a hearing. So you want to get that in place. You want to get all that over to the insurance company lawyer, and to the adjuster and to the people who are making the decisions for the insurance company, so they can step back and say, oh yeah, maybe we did make a mistake. Maybe we should just, maybe we should resume these benefits. And that happens, quite a bit as you get closer to a hearing as well. If you've got everything well prepared, squared away, you're working with your doctors to get the right evidence that'll convince a judge that you're right and the insurance company's wrong. Those are the biggest, I would say, 4 questions. And then here's one, number 5, that we get a lot, and I'm not sure why. Okay, and the question is usually something like this: can I, should I, do I trust the insurance company adjuster? Can I trust my adjuster? Okay, and the answer is usually some variation of hell no. Are you kidding me? That insurance adjuster works for the insurance company. Her job is to make money for the insurance company. The less they pay you, either in weekly benefits or in a settlement or for your medical treatment, the better a job she does for the insurance company. So keep that in mind. And a lot of people say, well, but my insurance adjuster is so nice. I mean, she's polite, she's friendly, she's so nice. I'd agree with that 100%. So are most of the adjusters we deal with, okay? But they still have a job to do. They're well paid to do it and well trained. They have an army of, insurance company lawyers and doctors and nurses and case managers behind them to back up and to help them make decisions that are in the best interest of the insurance company. The other thing is, the reality of it is, they have 300 or 400 cases at a time. They are overworked. They aren't going to pay attention to your case, to your situation, unless you make them do that. Okay, like I tell people all the time that, there's going to be a problem in your case. You just don't know whether it's going to be at the beginning of the case, middle of the case, or at the end of the case. But so you really got to watch that. I mean, you can't, like my example with the young man with Mike earlier, that's a nice insurance adjuster sent him those forms, okay? Sent him those claim forms to file. He filled them out. He did just what she told him to do, just what he was supposed to do. And then look what happened to him. Was it wrong? No, of course not. It's totally legal for the insurance company, for the adjuster to do that. Totally, completely legal. He made a choice. He just didn't understand the importance of the choice he was making. That's all. But hopefully you understand that now. Now I want to leave you with 3 tips of what to do right after you get hurt, and these are pretty simple. but important things to do. Number one, you get hurt on the job, tell your boss, tell a supervisor, tell someone in HR. Can't just be a coworker, okay? It's got to be some type of supervisor. And, a great way to do that now, in addition to telling them verbally, if they don't have a report or a form or you're on a construction site or what have you, send them a text, send them an email, okay? That shows that they knew about the injury, and make sure you tell them, I got hurt at work. It's not enough saying, my neck's bothering me, my ankle's bothering me, my shoulder's sore, okay? Make sure you tell them what you were doing and how you got hurt on the job at work. That's number one. Number two, get the medical treatment that you need. This isn't high school football. You can't just, or you shouldn't just walk off an injury anymore, okay? Like a lot of us did 30 years ago at this point. So be sure that you get yourself checked out. And when you go to the doctor or you go to the urgent care or the emergency room or wherever you need to go, that you tell them how it happened. I hurt my back at work lifting a bag of cement. I hurt my shoulder at work turning a patient. Okay, that's very important so that the doctors write that down so that it's well documented. You don't want to go back 3 weeks later thinking that your shoulder injury really wasn't much and you didn't tell the doctor how it happened. You just said it was sore, and you've got a torn rotator cuff and you need surgery and you can't work. Because that will be a big fight with the insurance company, and legitimately so. They've got to investigate that. They don't know what happened. And the third thing to do is file in the right place. File in the right place, whether it's DC, Maryland, or Virginia. Make sure you investigate that, understand that, and get the good advice and information you need to make the best choice for you and for your family. I really want to say again, thank you for those of you who are watching. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. It's something we're very passionate about here. Is helping people get the best information. Where can you get more information? Well, just go to our website. That's www.donahoekearney.com. And on there we have over 200 articles, 55 videos, all addressing questions, that come up in serious injury cases. And I think we have 270 specifically asked questions that we've answered as well. So please do that. And, I'll just tell you, if you have a specific question, just reach out and give us a call. It's 202-393-3320. You may not know, but we don't advertise. We're not on TV. We're not in the yellow pages. We don't do those annoying pop-up ads or pay-per-click. But we do make time every week to talk to people who have specific questions, and we see if we can help them. We see if we can answer them. And so we're happy to do that. It would have to be scheduled, on the calendar. Obviously, we're in court a lot, but we do carve out time just about every week to answer questions, and we're happy to do that for you. I just want to say thanks for watching, and then please spread the word. If you have a friend, a relative, a coworker, someone who's hurt at work, and needs good information, please spread the word. Let them know that there is information out there, that there are people out there that can help them. Okay, and I just want to say again, thank you all. Again, any questions at all, please just give us a call. Thank you all for watching. Take care.